गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। नमामि गौडपादं च शङ्करं श्रीसुरेश्वरं स्वामिनं सच्चिदानन्दमिन्द्रं तं ज्ञानरूपिणे। ॐ नारायण नारायण नारायण। So we were discussing the definition of adhyasa. So smriti rupaha paratra purvadrishtavabhasaha. So this definition in the Bhashya, first you ask the question, what is adhyasa? What is it that you are calling as adhyasa? For this replies smriti rupaha paratra purvadrishtava bhasaha. Okay, smriti rupaha. First it means smriti is going to explain details later, but first he says Smriti Rupaha, take 4 words are here. Smriti Rupaha, Paratra is a second word. Purvadrishtava Bhasaha, although it is a one word, it is a compound word. This compound word can be separated. Purvadrishtasya avabhasaha. Okay. So if you divide the third word into 2, you separate the compound word, they become 2. So thus there are 4 words. Smriti Rupaha, Paratra, Purvadrishtasya, Avabhasaha. So the first word Smriti Rupaha, will set it aside. Purvadrishtasya, also set it aside. That means the first word and the third word. So only 2 remain. Paratra avabhasaha, only 2 remain. So our Swamiji takes this. Paratra vastuni parasra atadrupasya abhabhasaha. Paratra paravabhasaha. In one appearance of other. Or one appearing as different from it. One appearing, other means there is no other again. So in English, other means you think is a separate object. It is not separate, therefore the translation has to be slightly different. One appears as something differently, something other than what it is. Something different from what it is. Okay. Something appearing as different from what it is. I think this is a better expression. Appearing different from what it is called adhyasa. Okay. Different from what it is. This is the basic definition of adhyasa. So, in fact, there are 4 words in this definition, yet 2 words alone are enough. Paratra avabhasaha. Then why the other 2 are brought? Okay. Other 2 means smriti rupaha as well as purvadrishtasya. Smriti rupa means something similar to memory. Smriti Rupa means something similar to memory. Purvadrishta means I don't know what I translated before. Purvadrishta. Let me see how I defined it. What was previously seen. Okay, Purvadrishta is what was previously seen. Purvadrishtava bhasaha, dissolved like the appearance of something that is similar to what was seen. Purvadrishtam iva means in 2 places. Purvadrishtam iva, innandu smriti rupa iva. In both the words, the iva has to be added. As if something similar to what is remembered and similar to what was seen before. Okay. These 2 words have to be added. Now, why these two words are added? If you take the complete definition, complete means adding these two words also which we left out in the beginning. First we left out and we just bear the core definition. The core definition is something appearing different from what it is. This is the core definition. But we have added something similar to your memory. Okay, something similar to your memory, or something similar to what you have seen before. These two were also added now. These two definitions. These two words also we have added. Now the question, why? I lost my paper. Where? This is here. Is this here? Memory like knowledge of what is seen. I think even then it is lost somewhere. Anyway, I'll search for it later. My book, translated book, Sugama translated in English, it is there, left somewhere there. So, here it is. Yes. Idam samanyam. This is what we were discussing in last class, that this definition is a common definition, common to the worldly instances of adhyasa and the adhyatmika adhyasa. This adhyatmika adhyasa, in the modern English they call metaphysical adhyasa. It is a too complicated word. Somebody told the Kuppuswamy mathematics, Kuppuswamy mathematics made difficult. Okay, it is like the metaphysical word is more difficult for Indians to understand. Adhyatmika is easier. Therefore, I use the word Adhyatmika. So instead of calling it as metaphysical superimposition, it is too much of anglicizing. We leave it. We call simply Adhyatmika Adhyasa and worldly instance of Adhyasa. So this definition, when you include these two words, similar to memory, smriti rupaha, and purva drishta, as if it was seen before, these two adjectives are added to that core definition, so that the definition can apply to the worldly instance of adhyasa as well as the spiritual adhyasa, adhyatmika adhyasa. Okay. Now here we spent the whole one class in the last class, that what are the differences between worldly instance of adhyasa and the adhyatma adhyasa, atma adhyasa. So the 4 points we discussed. One is it has a, I myself forgot what are they. Anyway, one is it is a bound by time, sadhi adhyasa. One is it is sadhi adhyasa, and adhyatmika adhyasa is anadi adhyasa. It doesn't have a beginning because time itself is within adhyasa. Second point is, did I say anything? Here I noted down. Only object is mistaken for another object. I think I myself should include these points in my translation of Sugama. I have translated. I think in the footnotes at least I should include these points. In the worldly instance of adhyasa, object is mistaken for another object. Here, subject, object both are included. The whole avastha is included in adhyasa. Third point is purva drishtaiva. That means the previously in the worldly instance, you must have seen anything, object which you have seen before alone is mistaken here, is imposed here. Like for example, the snake, if you are imposing, you must have seen the snake before, and the snake memory is required, and the snake's samskaras are required. And accordingly, with the help of the samskaras or the memory alone, here the mistake takes place. So this is the third reason. And this reason doesn't exist in Adhyatmika Adhyasa. These three reasons, three characters pertain to instances, worldly instances of Adhyasa. These three characters don't exist in Adhyatmika Adhyasa. The third one, I repeat, third one, it doesn't exist in Adhyatmika Adhyasa because there is no question of memory. Because you, in order to see the world in Atma, in order to impose the entire Atma, entire Anatma, entire Prapancha in the Atma, you don't need a memory or samskaras of another world, because there is no another world. There is only one world. Regarding this, the post-Shankarites try to create another world was existing before. See, in order to, first they see that in the worldly instance of the rope mistaking for snake you must have seen. This is what the question they would ask me also. In fact, I unfortunately, I was misled by these people. First time when I heard this adhyasa, I say, yes, snake is a snake, that's all. Now they told, no, you must have seen the snake before. Unless you see the snake, how can you misunderstand? They told. Then the people have to explain. See, this, they dragged me, they diverted me into these things. First time when I heard, I was a student of our Guru, first Guru. Then I was also misled by them because they are all seniors. I was the too young boy, me and another one or two people were there, only 2 or 3. Most of the people were all just there, misled us to another thinking. Then according to the post-Shankarite explanation, they told, yes, you must have seen the world before, then only you can mistake here. Then where is the another world? You know, there must be another world, the another world must be a real world. So we don't go all that into details, but they explain this much. Earlier there was a world. You have seen that world. And that world's memory and samskara you are carrying in order to impose this world. This means the present adhyasa. Then where was the earlier world? You know, they said there was an earlier world and that samskara was there, and that world you are imposing on this. Now, what about that earlier world? For that previous, for that previous, for that previous. They go like this anadi chain of worlds. It looks so boring, I tell you. If I tell you, you'll get confused more. We'll leave them. So, first thing is this third factor, that a sadhi adhyasa, you require a samskara or memory of that object in order to be able to impose a snake upon the rope, applies to only worldly instance. This doesn't exist for this because you are seeing the world directly. You don't require any memory or anything. Supposing you require a memory, then the previous memory means previous and later there is a kala. Kala krama comes. Then is not kala adhyasa? This will be the complication. I think Swamiji himself may discuss it. We'll leave it later. So these 3 factors, in these 3 instances, worldly instances, there are certain features, certain characters. They unnecessarily try to explain Adhyatmika Adhyasa in the model of worldly instance of Adhyasa. They try to explain, I repeat it, they try to explain Adhyatmika Adhyasa in the model of worldly instance of Adhyasa. Because the problem with them is, anything you explain through Anumana Pramana, anything you explain through Drishtanta. Okay, Drishtanta, this is what Swamiji told. Vedanta is a Shuddha Vishuddha Vedanta. Because other scholars, those who have explained differently, they have studied Tarka Shastra first. Even Tarka Shastra studied they first. They bring the Tarka Shastra model, the Tarka Shastra explanations into Vedanta. This is what Swamiji told in the preface of the book which we are studying in Kannada, Vishuddha Vedanta Sara. In the preface, Swamiji told the same thing. The problem with our present day Vedanta is, the Vedanta writers in the last few centuries have brought their samskaras of other schools of philosophy, like Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Mimamsa. So their mind was infused with the other schools of philosophy, and they are bringing those ideas and trying to explain Adhyatmika Adhyasa in the model of worldly instance of Adhyasa. Now see, do we need to prove Adhyasa, or you have to point out Adhyasa? Shankaracharya in his Adhyasa Bhashya is not trying to prove that Adhyasa is possible. See, the person when he asked, how adhyasa is possible when it is opposite to each other. Atma, Anatma by nature are opposite to each other. How can adhyasa? Adhyasa is improbable. Shankara did not answer how it is probable. He did not prove it logically that it is possible. He simply told adhyasa is found in your life, that's all. It is there. You find it. He is only pointing out a vyavahara and also adhyasa right in your anubhava, that's all. He is not trying to establish it logically. Now to establish logically in Indian logic, you require a drishtanta. Every drishtanta implies a logic, an inference. Okay. Now here, with the help of the worldly instance, that means taking the worldly instance as a drishtanta, they are trying to establish the adhyatmika adhyasa. Taking the worldly instance of adhyasa as a drishtanta, they are trying to establish adhyatmika adhyasa as a darshtanta. How can you establish, with the help of the drishtanta, if you are trying to establish, then you are trying to establish logically. Okay. You are trying to establish logically. This is the biggest defect in Vedanta. This is what Swamiji pointed out. You don't look for logic. You don't bring in logic to establish adhyasa. Then what Shankaracharya is doing is, he is directly pointing out your experience. Look at it. I am pointing out. You will find it. You will see it directly. You are seeing it. Why you will see? You are seeing it. I am only pointing out. You are not establishing adhyasa with the help of logic. This is the biggest defect. This is the biggest difference between post-Shankarites adhyasa and Satchidananda Swamiji's explanation of adhyasa. You see, Shankara is not trying to explain through logic. Then why take worldly instance of adhyasa as a model and try to explain it? Okay. Now the fourth factor. Just it is a revision of last class, because those ideas must have been new to at least to some people. Some people, those who have heard Vedanta, they can catch it instantly in one talk. But for the new people, the second talk, it becomes clearer, stays in the mind. Okay, the fourth factor also, I touched it. In the fourth factor, they try to say adhyasa is a product. One is adhyasa itself is a material adhyasa. Adhyasa means mithya pratyayaha, Shankaracharya told. Mithya pratyayaha, an error, a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding is in terms of thinking. Okay? Mithya pratyayaha, a wrong thinking, a wrong thought. A wrong thinking alone he told, wrong object he did not say. See, misunderstanding is it a wrong thinking or wrong object? This we'll discuss, Swamiji himself will discuss later. I am only just preparing a background for it. They say adhyasa is a wrong object. You are placing when you are mistaking rope for snake, what we say is there is a wrong understanding called snake. Snake is a misunderstanding. They say it is not only wrong misunderstanding, it is a wrong object also. There is a false object of snake. What is false object? They say there is a kind of false object called snake. There is a false snake sitting upon the rope. What is false snake? Yeah, they say false padartha. They say mithya padartha. So they say Jagad Adhyasa is a mithya padartha. But Shankara doesn't say mithya padartha. He says mithya pratyaya. A misunderstanding alone. Where adhyasa is adhyaso mithya pratyaya rupaha. He is going to say again. Again he is going to say adhyaso mithya pratyaya rupaha. When I pointed out to my one of the gurus, he became very angry. Very angry. Adhyaso mithya pratyaya rupaha. Not only he got angry, he started objecting Shankara alone. He says Shankara himself did not explain completely. He left out many things. His disciple completed it. They went to extent of telling like that. Anyway, that we'll discuss later. So, mithyaso, adhyaso, mithya pratyaya rupaha, which is going to repeat Shankara. So, it is a misunderstanding, wrong knowledge, not wrong object. There is no such thing called wrong object. Now they say, Jagat is a wrong object upon the Atma. Prapancha, Jiva Bhava is a wrong object upon the Atma. Okay. Then, this is one more addition, fourth point they say. Fourth point I am discussing. So, this wrong object requires, an object requires a cause, a material cause which transforms into Prapancha. A material cause called Mula Vidya or Karana Vidya. That Karana Vidya, it is before Adhyasa. It is not Adhyasta. Karana Vidya is not Adhyasta. There is a Karana Vidya sitting upon Brahman, sticking to Brahman. Not sitting, they say sticking to Brahman. And that transforms into Jagat. And that creates Adhyasa. Then they say Adhyasa is a production which requires a material cause. And that material is Bhava Vidya, Karana Vidya, Mula Vidya, whatever name you give. Okay, now they made Adhyasa into a product. This is a fourth point unique to them. Okay, now when they say in Adhyatma Adhyasa, Jagat is a product, product Adhyasa means produced Adhyasa. Product Adhyasa means produced Adhyasa. Effect Adhyasa, Karya Adhyasa. Adhyasa is a karya, a produced one. Now, to establish it, you need an example. You need a worldly instance. So, here again two things. Among the post-Shankarites, one scholar, one Acharya says that in the worldly instance of Adhyasa, you don't need material cause, simply you misunderstand. Another person says, no, you need a material cause even in the worldly instance. Now, in the worldly instance, for the rope to be misunderstood as a snake, they say there is a Karana Vidya, a thin layer of avidya sticking to rope. You see what they say? There is a thin layer of avidya sticking to snake, sticking to rope, and that transforms into snake. Has anybody seen? This is a simple theory. This is a simple hypothesis. They have created it. Why they have created? Because they need an instance. They need a drishtanta to prove this darshtanta. In both the cases, it is a speculation. Neither in worldly instance nor in Adhyatmika Adhyasa, nowhere Adhyasa is a product. But they created both the places Adhyasa is a product. And when we question them, you see, in fact, Madhva's main objection in Nyaya Sudha is this alone. Adhyasa is, rope is misunderstood as a snake. Where is a Mula Vidya and transforming? In fact, Ramanuja objected, Madhva followers, Vedanta Deshika, almost all Acharyas objected. Where is that Bhava Vidya which transforms into a Brahma, Bhranti? For Bhranti is a product, they say. Adhyasa is a product which requires a material cause. In fact, when they object to Avidya, Vedantins Avidya, they don't object to Adhyasa. They object to this material cause which transforms into Adhyasa. They say such a thing never exists in our life. You are unnecessarily creating a hypothesis. In fact, all of them wrote volumes and volumes criticizing Advaitins only on this point. Madhva wrote, Ramanuja also, in Mahapurva Paksha, in his first sutra, Athato Brahma Jignasa, there is a Lagupurva Paksha and Mahapurva Paksha. In Lagupurva Paksha, it is that Atha Shabda. In Mahapurva Paksha, this alone, he criticized it. And again in second Adhyaya also, second Adhyaya, I think second Adhyaya, first Pada, second Sutra or fourth Sutra, I don't remember, fifth Sutra somewhere, again he took up the Mula Vidya, Karana Vidya and tried to refute such a thing is a mere speculation. It doesn't exist anywhere. Nyaya Sudha Jayatirtha also did the same thing. And Mayavada Khandana, when Madhva wrote the book, they all were addressing this alone. Bhava Vidya, Mula Vidya. They were all addressing this alone. Where is that existing? And now, ultimately they say, it existing according to our Siddhanta. Where is it? Because we have accepted, therefore it is there. We have accepted in our school, therefore it is there. Therefore they try to establish this way. Swamiji told, It exists in nobody's anubhava. Why unnecessarily create and complicate it? So, you assume a Mula Vidya which transforms into Adhyatmika Adhyasa. To explain Adhyatmika Adhyasa, they needed an example, an instance. Therefore, in the worldly instance also, they imagined that in every object there is a thin layer of Mula Vidya. Supposing if you have to mistake the rope for snake, there is a thin layer sitting on the rope that transforms into snake. But has anybody seen that the thing is transforming into snake, and when you bring the light and the transformed thing gets destroyed? They say it is a thin like a fog. Fog, do you know, in the winter, early morning when you wake up, just at the time of sunrise, there is a thin fog like a smoky thing, you will find it. And that fog, when will it melt away? When the sun rises. The sun has to melt away the fog, and after some time the sun gradually melts away all the fog. Then you will see the clean light. They say that Mula Vidya is something like a fog, and Jnanam comes and destroys it, they say. First thing is, calling Mula Vidya is something a material, and Jnana comes and destroys it. Both are wrong thing. This is the main contention of Sachidanandendra Swamiji. Writing a book, Mula Vidya Nirasa, the purpose of writing the book is this alone. Swamiji told that, see, avidya is a simple misunderstanding. Misunderstanding means a wrong standpoint of looking. What is Jnanam? Jnanam can only correct your standpoint. Jnanam doesn't destroy anything. Destroying is a physical destroying. Okay. Destroying means really breaking into. They say this Mula Vidya existed before. With Jnanam it gets destroyed. Swamiji says Jnanam doesn't destroy anything. Jnanam doesn't remove anything. Jnanam only corrects your wrong standpoint and brings you to the right standpoint. That's all. Jnanam tu jnapakam natu karakam. Pramanam tu jnapakam natu karakam. Shankara Bhashya says many places, Jnanam tu jnapakam natu karakam. Jnanam doesn't transform. Jnanam doesn't change anything. But destruction means change. Something which was existing is removed. See, you are affecting something. You are changing something. You are destroying something. But Jnanam doesn't do. Jnanam is not a doer. It only reveals. Jnanam is not a doer. Jnanam only is an illuminator. Okay? Jnanam jnapakam natu karakam. When Shankaracharya says, it only means that Jnanam is an illuminator, not a doer. Jnanam doesn't do anything. Doing means an existing thing. It changes, transforms, destroys. All these are the actions. Jnanam doesn't do action. Jnanam only illumines what exists. Simply. It brings to your attention, that's all. It comes into your awareness what exists. It doesn't change anything. But they say that Mula Vidya, once you assume, it is assumed, and then Jnanam comes and destroys it. They say, what Shankaracharya, what Swamiji told is, Jnanam means only you shift to your wrong standpoint and come to, and just the fact is there already. There is no remove of anything. You know what they say? Mula Vidya or a Karana Vidya, Bhava Vidya, Jnanam arises and destroys it. Otherwise, what will the Jnanam do? Jnanam removes something, destroys something. The removal word, they literally take it. The avidya nivrutti word, in Sanskrit there is a nivrutti. They take it literally and say that there is something to be removed. That is Mula Vidya. This is unheard of. Nowhere you find in our Anubhava. All Jnanam only corrects your misunderstanding. You come to the right standpoint and you just see it. That's all. There is no removal of anything. Okay. So, in the fourth point is purely speculated by the post-Shankarites, both in Adhyatmika Adhyasa as well as in worldly instance of Adhyasa. It exists nowhere. It exists in neither worldly instance nor exists in Adhyatmika Adhyasa. First they assume in Adhyatmika Adhyasa. In order to prove it, they need an instance, a worldly instance. They imagined a worldly instance also. In the worldly, in Drishtanta also they imagined, you know that? In Drishtanta also they imagined. This is the fourth point. Okay, now we leave it. Come to our present adhyasa. Just so that you understand this definition I gave you. More will come when Swamiji discusses himself. At the end of the second chapter, in each chapter, in the beginning, Swamiji explains the bare Shankara's Bhashya. At the end, he brings the post-Shankarite's explanation, and then you will see all these details. Then I will explain more details. Okay, now, this definition, which includes as if it was a memory, see Smriti Rupa Iva, Purva Drishta Iva, as if you have seen it before. These two adjectives are added so that the definition can apply to worldly instance of adhyasa as well as adhyatmika adhyasa. Will proceed with this. So, idamcha adhyasa samanya lakshanam. This lakshanam definition is common to worldly instance as well as adhyatmika. Tatra atmanatmaro anyonyadhyaso anadiriti vakshyate. So, two things. The worldly instance is sadhi adhyasa, adhyatmika adhyasa is anadi adhyasa. Now he says, tatra atmanatmanor anyonya adhyasa. Atma, anatma. Mutual superimposition of atma and anatma is anadi adhyasa. How anadi will be more discussed in future. Discussed means this itself is elaborately discussed. So now we have stated already, but we will discuss more later. Shukti Rajata Disadhyasasyapi. Okay. Now Shukti Rajata, mistaking the seashell for silver. Mistaking the seashell for silver. Seashell is kappe chippu. Okay. Andre mutyap chippa. Mutyap chippanu vendiga parapadatam. So that kappe chippu, mistake for silver, idu belli. Shukti Rajatadi, idu Sadhi Adhyasa. Sadhi Adhyasasyapi Lokasiddhasya Sangrahartam. In order to include, means the definition should be able to cover the worldly instance of Adhyasa as well as Adhyatmika Adhyasa. In order to cover these two Adhyasas, he is giving this technical long definition. Otherwise, the core definition which I have given, one thing taken to be what it is not. A thing taken to be different from what it is. This much alone is a core adhyasa. Taking something to be different from what it is. Adu iruvakkinta innondu anisuvadu. Iruvakkinta bhinnavagi anisuvadu ashte. ಇರುವಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಭಿನ್ನವಾಗಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವುದು. Taking it to be different from what it is. This much alone is the core adhyasa. So he is giving an adhyasa definition so that it can cover the worldly instance as well as the adhyatmik. Okay? Okay. Now, worldly instance is a sadhi adhyasa. Okay. This is where I have my personal view. Satchidanandandra Swamiji says worldly instances adhyasa is sadhi, adhyatmika adhyasa is anadi. Okay. So Prabuddhananda also accepts that worldly instance of adhyasa is sadhi and this is anadi. But I personally feel that all adhyasas are anadi only. Even the worldly, Swamiji has not stated it. I think even nowhere Swamiji has stated. This is what my observation. You can see anyway, when a new idea comes, then we all have to discuss. Let us discuss together. You also think whether sadhi adhyasa is also anadi or not. I'll give you my view of understanding, my way of understanding. I'll help you here. I hope I will put it in the footnotes of my translation. I have translated all this Sugama long before, I think 5 years ago. It is translated already, is there. So I think I should supply the footnotes to this. So I feel worldly adhyasa is also anadi only. Then see, you mistake for the snake. Do you feel that the adhyasa of the snake begins? Do you ever? Now this is my explanation. I am giving you. Let us see, please see. Swamiji, Satchidananda Swamiji takes it is a sadhi adhyasa. But I feel even that is anadi. How? Let us see. Now, if you are walking that way, suddenly you happen to see the snake. Then you say, oh, snake here. When you are thinking of a snake, Do you think that the mistake began? When you are seeing it as a snake, you are in the mistake. You are in the mistake of a snake. You don't see snake is beginning. Then why do you call beginning? Because in fact it is the rope is sadi. It is the adhisthana is sadi. Adhyastha is not sadi. See, it is the adhisthana sadi. The rope itself is a beginning, because rope exists in time and place. Rope doesn't exist sarvavyapaka. Rope is not sarvavyapaka. Yavavastu sarvavyapaka alla. No object is sarvavyapaka. No object exists all the periods of time and in all places. Every object exists in a given time and a given place. Therefore, adhisthana being sadi, adhyasa looks like sadi, but in fact, adhyasa is not sadi, because when you are going that way, you see the snake. When you are seeing the snake, you don't say adhyasa begins now. My mistake has begun. You think I have seen the snake. You saw. That means when you are in adhyasa, you think that the snake has been there. I have been seeing the snake. Snake has been there, I am seeing it now. I have come here now and I am seeing it. I am seeing it now, but the snake has been there, he thinks it. You see, in any misunderstanding, you don't think that the misunderstanding begins with my perception. When you are seeing the snake, you don't think that snake has begun now. You think that I am seeing the snake which has been lying there. Okay? That means the snake was existing even before my seeing it. I happen to see the snake there. So, anybody who is in adhyasa thinks adhyasa has been there. Nobody can see the beginning of adhyasa. Even the beginning of dream also, you can't see the beginning of dream. You can't see the beginning of even worldly instance of adhyasa also. After jnanam comes, it goes away. So, the worldly instance of adhyasa is called sadi. You can take it sadi. Whether you say sadi, anadi doesn't make any difference, because that is not our main topic. Topic is adhyatmika adhyasa. We have to remove adhyatmika adhyasa with the help of Brahma Jnanam. So, therefore, our main topic is adhyatmika adhyasa. Laukika adhyasa is only to help you to understand as a drishtanta. So we don't have to quarrel with the drishtanta. Okay, whether you take it sadi, anadi is okay. But just to be accurate, even in example, to be accurate, I feel means this is my understanding. You think, how do you feel? When we meet personally, we will discuss. What is your feeling? I feel worldly instance of adhyasa is also anadi. It looks sadi, or we generally think of it as a sadi, because the adhisthana is sadi, not adhyasa. Adhisthana is sadi, therefore we think that adhyasa is sadi. Okay, we leave it now. Now that's not important point, as I told you. Therefore, shukti rajatadi sadhya adhyasasyapi lokasiddhasya, it is a worldly adhyasa. In Sanskrit he calls it lokasiddha adhyasa. In English I translated it as worldly instance of adhyasa. Sangrahartam. First he wanted to include that worldly instance in the definition. Second, why include it like that? So that worldly instance of adhyasa can be used as an illustration, can be used as a drishtanta, can be used as udaharanam. Tad udaharanena prakruta adhyasa swarupa nirdharanartham. This adhyatmika adhyasa, to understand the adhyatmika adhyasa, worldly adhyasa helps you. Therefore, worldly adhyasa is used as a drishtanta to help you to understand the adhyatmika adhyasa. Cha visheshana dvayam. For this purpose, these two adjectives are added extra. What is that? Smrti rupaha and purva drishta avabhasascha. Okay. Now take up one by one these adjectives. Okay. Smrti rupaha in the one adjective. Innondu purva drishta is another adjective. These two adjectives is explaining now. One by one, let us explain. First one now. Smrti rupaha. How do you say? First split the samasa. Adakki samasada vigraha madona. Let us split the words occurring in the sama. Smrteha rupamiva rupamasya iti smrti rupaha. Andre smrti rupa means it is a memory, it is a remembered. Okay. Smriti Rupaha means it is in the form of memory. But don't take it literally form of memory. It is something similar to the form of memory. Memory like knowledge. Okay. Similar to the memory. Don't take it exactly memory. Therefore, Smrteha Rupamiva Rupam. Swamiji, when he divides the samasa, not Smrteha Rupam, Smrteha Rupam Iva Rupam. Means as if it is a memory. Memory andante, smarana agiddante ansuttade. Memory annatlu. Memory vale, not memory nijamagi. Smarana vale, as if like a memory. Smrteha rupamiva rupamasya iti smrti rupaha. Now, why do you say it is something like memory? Because he explains now, idameva kalu smrteha rupam yatu puro anavasthita vishayatvam. When adhyasa takes place, suppose you see the rope, you mistake the rope for snake. Here, what is the smrti rupam about it? Memory like means what? In what sense it is memory like? Yava arthadalli smarisidante agutta ide. Yava arthadalli. In what sense it is memory like? Why do you call memory like? Because puro anavasthita vishayatvam. It is not present, not being present in front of you. Tanna eduta lekapavatam, tanna eduragi illadivike, tanna eduragi illa ade. Ekandre smaranadalli in memory, what happens? In memory, anything remembered, there is a thought without the object being in front. Okay. In actual memory, see. First see the actual memory and compare it with memory. Memory like we call it. What is actual memory? In actual memory, you have a thought of a snake, or you have a thought of a thing without the thing being in front of you. Okay. Without the thing being in front of you, you have a thought of an object. This is a real memory. But here in Adhyasa, memory like, why do you call? Memory like memory, why do you call? Because there is a similarity. What is the similarity? In Adhyasa, there is a thought without the object being in front of you. This much of similarity is there, isn't it? When you mistake for the snake, snake is not in front of you. But you think as if there is in front of you. Okay. In this aspect, it is similar to memory. In actual memory, there is a thought without the object being in front of you. Similarly, similar to memory, Adhyasa is similar to memory. Why do you call similar to memory? What is the similarity in that? What aspect is similar here? It is, there is a thought without the object being in front of you. When you are mistaking the rope for snake, snake is not in front of you. But you think that there is a snake. There is a thought of snake. There is a perception of snake without the snake being there. This is a strange thing, isn't it? Why do we call something like memory? Because there is a perception of snake without snake being there. So this is smrti rupaha. Therefore, idameva kalu smrteha rupam yat puro anavasthita vishayatvam. Those who have the book, you can see how clearly Swamiji says, puro anavasthitam, not being in front of you. That is the similarity of with memory. Next, adhyasetu ayam vishesho yat puro anavasthita vishayatvepi puro avasthita vishayavat abhabhasaha. That means, without being in front, it appears as if it is in front of you. Tanna yaduragi illadiddaru yaduragi iddante anisike. Anisuvadu, toruvadu. Yaduragi illadiddaru yaduta lekunna yaduta unnatlu anipinchatam. Yaduragi illadiddaru iddante anisike, torike. So, without being in front of you, you perceive as if it is in front. So, this is the memory like. This is the similarity to memory. So, that first adjective we have explained. Now, the second adjective. Purva drishtam. We have to go slowly because later Swamiji is going to explain much more. So if you remember these two adjectives accurately, it becomes easy. So Purvadrishtam. Purvadrishtam means what was seen before. Purvadrishtam, Purvavu nodiddu, Hinde nodiddu, Modalu chusindi, Purvan chusindi. Purvadrishtam andre what was seen before. Now here also again as if we have seen before. Again we have to add as if. Iva, Purvadrishtam iva, Purvadrishtam iva, Purvadrishtam, as if it was seen before. Tasya avabhasaha, appearance of what was seen before. Okay. Why do you say it is as if what was seen before? It is appearing like what was seen before. Why are you calling it like? Why don't you say you are seeing directly what you have seen before? Why don't you say you are seeing what you have seen before? No, you are not seeing what you have seen before. Okay, you are not directly seeing what you have seen before. It is similar to what you have seen before. That's all. Therefore, nahi purvadrishtameva vastu puro avabhasate. What you have seen before, the same thing is not appearing. It is similar to what you have seen before alone is appearing. Okay. It is similar to what you have seen. The Sanskrit sentence I read out. Nahi purvadrishtameva vastu kintu puro avabhasate atra yatha pratyabhignayam. How that happens? He gives another instance in life. Pratyabhigna. There is such thing called pratyabhigna. You know what is pratyabhigna? Pratyabhigna means recognition of what you have seen before. You have seen one person. Okay. You have seen one person before. You know him well. Again, second time when you see him, you instantly recognize, hey, you are that fellow, I know him, I know you. I saw you before. Any person, any object, Karyalaya, you have seen before Bangalore. Again you come, you recognize, yes, I know it, I have seen this. Any person you have known before, again when you see, what do you say? Any person you have seen before, again when you see, what do you say? Oh, this is the person I am seeing, whom I have seen before. This is called pratyabhigna or recognition. Gurtu pattuta. Andre enu? Matte gottu. Hinde nodiddanne matte gurtu maduvodu. Matte gottu maduvodu. Andre hinde nodiddanne mattondu sala nodi ide andu gottu maduvodu. So it is a recognition. Andre in recognition nalli, in pratyabhigna nalli enagta ide? Hinde nodiddu ide, what you have seen before, and again you are seeing it right now. You are also seeing him again. This is pratyabhigna. But in adhyasa, it looks as if you have seen before. But right now you are not seeing it. Snake is not in front of you. Okay. It appears as if you have seen before, but it is not in front of you. You are not recognizing it. It is not pratyabhigna. It is adhyasa. It is adhyasa. You feel what you have seen before, but it is not seen. It is totally new. It doesn't exist in front of you. Therefore, in pratyabhigna you are seeing, but in pratyabhigna you are seeing what you have seen before. But in adhyasa, it is similar to what you have seen before, but in front of you there is no object. Purvadrishta sadrusham vastu. This is what Swamiji says. Purvadrishta sadrusham vastu purovasthitamiti kevalam bhrantya vikalpyate. When you see it, it looks as if you have seen it before. Purovasthitam purvadrishta sadrusham vastu purovasthitamiti kevalam bhrantya vikalpyate. It is due to bhranti you think that it is already existing. See, I am seeing what already exists. While mistaking, you don't say, I am seeing, I am imposing my mind on it. You don't think like that. See? You don't think that I am imposing my mind on it. You think that it is there and I am seeing it. See how you think it? It is there. When I have come here, the thing has been already there before. You see, for example, in dream, when you are there, what do you think? The world already existing and I am seeing the world. The world is existing and I am seeing it. After you wake up, what do you think? Did the world exist before you enter into dream? See, note for this point. Did the world exist before you enter into the dream? But you think that when you are in the world, there was a world before I came here. I woke up just now into this world. And before me, my father was there. Before I was born, my parents were there, grandparents were there, and the history was there, and all our earlier people was there. You think that world has been running, and I have come into this world. Don't you think like that? The world has been there, and I have entered into this world. You think the thing existed before I have seen. Now I am seeing it. But actually, the world existing and you are becoming a dreamer, and the dream world existing, both are simultaneous. The dream world and the dreaming person, both are simultaneous. But during your dream state, it appears as if the world existed previous to your arrival. Okay. Previous to your arrival, world existed. But that's false. But adhyasa is adhyasa. Mistake is a mistake. What can we say? That's how the Brahma is. Therefore here, Purva Drishta Sadrusham Vastu Purovasthitamiti Kevalam Bhrantya Vikalpyate. Oh, in dream you see a person. See, you meet him, oh, I have seen you somewhere, you think, nowhere you have seen, he is a dream only. That means the thing looks familiar to you. Similarly, Bhrantya Vikalpyate, it is purely a Bhranti, an error. An error, you think that the thing has been existing before and I am seeing it now. Okay. Evamcha smrutaviva vishaya sannidhyavabhavepi anubhutaviva vastuna purovastatatvena abhabhasinam adhyasa ityuktam bhavati. So, in smrti, there is only a thought, object, without object being there. In purovastita, what happens? Vishaya sannidhya abhavepi. Without the snake being in front of you, anubhutaviva vastunaha purovastitatvena. Like in an anubhava. In anubhava, vastu is in front of you. Anubhava, in actual experience. So in adhyasa, you feel as if there is an actual experience. But it is only your thought alone. There is no actual experience. There is no actual experience. Because the thing is not there. Snake is not there. But you feel as if the lying snake, the snake which is lying in front of me, I am seeing it. This is the nature of adhyasa. Okay. Vastunah purovastitatvena vabhubhasanam cha adhyasaha ityuktam bhavati. Therefore, the core adhyasa is only this much. Paratra tadruparahitattvepi tatpritiriti vaktum ityuktam. The core definition is paratra parava bhasaha. One thing taken for different, one thing taken for other. This is the core definition. Okay. Tathacha. Now, this definition, Swamiji is giving different interpretations. What exactly is the meaning of this definition? He is giving A, B, C, D. 4 definitions he gives, and E is the real adhyasa. A, B, C, D, 4 definitions, 4 interpretations. 4 interpretations he gives, and he says that no, this is not, this is not, this is not. Then the last interpretation exactly is the meaning of the real meaning of the definition, the real meaning of the definition. Okay, the last meaning is the real meaning of the definition. Now we are going to say 5 meanings. The first one is paratra, literally taking it. Paratra parava bhasaha. One thing appearing on another. Okay. One thing appearing on another, when you say one upon the another. Vandu mele innondu. Vakadanipai inkokati. One upon the other. Should we take literally one upon the other? If you take literally, what will happen? One upon the other. Now he says, Swamiji explanation. Paratra parava bhasaha. If you take literally, does it apply? Iti kunde badaranamiva. Like a basket in which you put the flowers. Kunda means a pot. Madike. A pot. Fruits in a pot. Badarani means that is a bear. Bear in Hindi we call them bear pala. I don't know, they say something in Kannada, I forgot. Regu pallu in Telugu. So, okay, some fruits, okay, let us, just example is not important. So, some fruits in a basket or in a pot. Here one thing over the other. Literally you are putting like a book on a table. Take our example, simple example. Like a book upon a table. Putting one thing over other, does it mean similar to putting a book on the table? No. Paratra paravabhasaha ityanena kunde badaranamiva adhara adheya bhavena pratitir navagantavya. We should not take putting one object like a book on the table. Should not be taken. Why? Yadyapi tatra paratra parakunde paresham badaranamiva abhaso vartate. Why can't we take? You told paratra paravabhasa. Seeing one thing upon another. So seeing the book on the table, why can't we take this meaning? As I told you, 5 meanings he gives, dismisses first 4, and ultimately last meaning is the perfect meaning. Giving 5 meanings, one by one, let us dismiss it. And what is the final meaning alone is the perfect meaning. Book on the table. Does it mean, could this be the meaning of the definition? That one thing upon the other, paratra parava bhasaha, one thing upon the other when you say, does it mean literally book on the table? No, you can't take that meaning. Why? If you add the smriti rupaha, the other adjective, if you add the other adjectives, this misunderstanding of table and the book won't apply. Otherwise, if you simply say, if you don't take those 2 adjectives, what is that? Smriti rupaha and purva drishtaha. If you set aside those 2 adjectives, take the core adhyasa, one thing, seeing one thing as the other, seeing one thing upon the other. If you take the core definition and don't use these 2 adjectives, some laukika meaning will come, some unnecessary meaning will come. Therefore, see how these 2 adjectives are helping us to come to the right definition, right meaning of adhyasa. These 2 adjectives are helping us to arrive at the right meaning of adhyasa. How? Here you see. If that smriti rupaha was not brought in, only paratra paravabhasaha, one thing, seeing one thing upon the other. If you simply say this much, seeing the book upon the table, this would have been the meaning. This meaning is not adhyasa. To dismiss this wrong meaning, the smriti rupaha comes and helps you. Oh, this is not the meaning. Therefore, the adjective smriti rupa, how useful it is. He says, this fruit in the box, fruit in the basket is not the adhyasa, because smriti rupatvam avabhasasya iti visheshaha. Because smriti rupa, as if it is recollected, as if it is remembered, this adjective should also be included in the definition. That means, the fruits in the basket you are not recollecting, isn't it? That means it is not a mere pratyaya, you are seeing directly the fruits. Therefore, the smriti rupa, if you bring in, this first interpretation goes away, is wrong. Now take the second interpretation. Paratra purva drishta bhinna vastu matra kathanam. Paratra purva drishta bhinna. Oh, time aita? Howdu? Time aita. I think we have to see them later. Because it is a bit complicated. This complication is only that Indian way of doing it. Ultimate adhyasa is good, but this is a complicated, we need leisurely to discuss. We'll discuss in the next class. Okay? Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tatsat. In Bangalore Karyalaya, we have got extra 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes after 1 hour. So those last 10 minutes we could cover little more. But here it is only just 1 hour.